welcome to the Purls and Polish podcast tutorial edition. I'm your host Rachel, and today I wanted to talk about the difference between stockinette and garter stitch in knitting. Stockinette and garter are probably the two most common fabric types, and then of course within those two you get variations of different kinds of ribs and patterns and textures that you can do. But for the most part, the base or the foundation of your project is going to be either a garter stitch or a stockinette stitch. So what does that actually mean? I have this little sample that I've been working and showing different things on that I have here. And I have done some garter stitch, which are these rows here, and some stockinette stitches, which are the little V's here. And so the difference between the two is if you're knitting or purling, and also if you're doing this in the flat or in the round. I'm working in the flat, which means I'm going back and forth when I knit. If I'm knitting something like socks or a hat, I'm going to be knitting in a circle or a spiral. So when you're knitting flat, if you knit in this direction from right to left, and then you turn your work around and you work from right to left, you're going to get these little bumps, as you can see here. So this bottom section, I just knit back and forth and back and forth. And so that gives you these bumps. On this top section, I did a combination of knitting and purling. So I knit from right to left on this side of my work. And then when I flipped it around, I purled across all of my stitches. When you're purling, you get these little bumps like you do in garter stitch. When you're knitting, you get a little V. Now, if I were to stretch out my garter stitches here, let's see if I can do that well, you're going to see some little V's. Right where my thumb is at, you're going to see a little V there. That is the first half of this stitch, of my stockinette stitch. The only reason I don't have another little V on this side is because it's on this side, on the back of my yarn. There's corresponding little V. So the only difference is that we're making sure that the V's are on all the same side. Now, when you're working in the round, which really should be called in the spiral, because when you're knitting, it's almost like a giant slinky. It is a giant spiral that you're making. Then all the stitches are in the same direction. So they're all gonna look like these little V's in your stockinette stitch unless you purl, and then that's gonna give you your purl bumps. So that is the difference between stockinette and garter stitch. I'll see you guys in the next video.